Hey, welcome back to the Chaotic Soaper, where we choose creativity over perfection and enjoy the process. Whoa, almost fell. Just to set things up for this week's video. So I had some liquid silk that I've been using for a while, and I got some inspiration from Instagram and decided I wanted to try some in a cold process soap. I also wanted to try adding some sort of sculpted layers, or just straight lines, you know, just get some different colors in there and layer them on top of each other and have it come out nice and tidy and not separate, which I've experienced in the past. Kind of like this guy, look. They would come apart at the layers. That one has a different problem. Anyhow, I did recently discover a method, thanks to the Soap Challenge Club, that a way to do it and a recipe to use that actually worked wonderfully, and the soap is terrific. There's no problem with adhesion or wanting to come apart at all, and it looks terrific, and it's a smooth, very nice hard bar full of good stuff. So I wanted to try that recipe and try some different colors. So today I come up with a color scheme and make the soap. Let's go see how it went. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Chaotic Soaper, where we choose creativity over perfection and enjoy the process. So today I thought I'd share the thinking about what kind of soap to make, selecting some ingredients, designing a soap, and choosing a method that will work with the design and ingredients that you've chosen, and just kind of go through that whole thing with you. So let's get started. So today, what I thought I'd make is some soap with liquid silk. I think I was lying in bed this morning scrolling Instagram, because it's Saturday, and I saw somebody made a soap with Tassa silk, and they were saying how nice the batter was with the silk. And I was thinking a bit like, I have some silk around here. Didn't I try that a while ago? And I did have some silk fibers because I was making face cream and I wanted to add silk. And the silk fibers didn't work out great in the face cream, so then I discovered that I could order already pre-hydrolyzed liquid silk from Brambleberry, so that's what I did. I ordered liquid silk from Brambleberry, and yeah, so I've been using it. You can see I've been using it for a while in my face cream, and I was like, wow, maybe that's a great idea. I'd like to try it. So today I'm planning a soap. The starting idea was to use some liquid silk, and I want to try my hot soaping method again, the room temperature soaping method, the heat transfer method if you prefer. And yeah, let's look at all the stuff I've got and what I'm thinking. So like I said, I have the liquid silk here that I want to use. And then I was thinking about fragrances, and I've had a bunch of things come in, some fragrance oils, but also some essential oils. One of the essential oils I had come in along with tangerine was ylang ylang. I say ylang ylang. I've heard people say ylang. I'm not sure if that's right. Anyhow, I had this stuff come in, and I've been wanting to try it. It's supposed to be one of those oils that's a nice accompaniment and just brings out the other smells. So nice with floral, nice with citrus, but it's also a nice smell on its own. And then I was thinking about what I'd like to do with the liquid silk, what kind of soap I'd like to make, and stumbled on something else where somebody was talking about sandalwood, and I was like, hey, I have a whole jar of sandalwood fragrance oil here from Windy Point that I haven't used, and it's been sitting actually in my fridge. So ran and looked that up, and they said it's really well behaved. People loved it. They loved the blend, and they loved that it didn't accelerate, it didn't discolor, it behaved really well in soap. There was maybe one negative review out of a small pile there. So I feel pretty confident. I have used this once in a melt and pour soap that I made that I put some other additives. It didn't turn out great, but I'm gonna try it again today. Gonna give it another chance. I love the smell of sandalwood, and I do like the smell of this essential oil. I did not think it smelled like whatever that one negative review said. I did notice all the nice, it's got some nice citrusy notes, and just it's lightly sandalwood, not too heavy. It's a nice smell. So then I thought, well, maybe I'll combine these two. I'll try some ylang with my sandalwood, and I did a little mix together, and I like the brightness, and you can still smell the sandalwood, so I'm gonna try it. So now I'm looking for colors and a method to sort of use with the sandalwood. All right, so yeah, I want to make a soap with these, and I did go and look ylang up and discovered that it does accelerate in cold process soap. I don't know how much it accelerates, but it says that it creates acceleration. A lot of florals do that in soap, so you have to be careful using them. You have to plan your soap accordingly, because some techniques lend themselves to something that's accelerating. And other techniques, you need a nice thin trace, and you need things to stay fluid for a while, and acceleration is your enemy. So this one, I think I might have some acceleration, so that rules out some things I might like to try, like a drop pour or a butterfly hanger swirl or something like that. So I was thinking to do layers, and I've been wanting to try a couple of things. One was an ombre and the other was a gradient. Also want to try doing sculpted layers again, but I think not today. So with the gradient pour, you need your soap to stay fluid because you're slowly adding more and more titanium dioxide, making it whiter. That's not going to work. But I could do sorry, did I say? With the ombre, you're adding the titanium dioxide. It needs to stay fluid. But with a gradient, you don't need that. You need the layers to sort of set up, and then it's great if they're hardening, because when you're pouring the next one on, the one before that, it's not breaking through. So that's better for creating something with lines. So I wanted to do a gradient, maybe of like all one color kind of going up, which is what a gradient is, right? And I took in some colors that went with this. I had, I think, flotation device, and I had radio or tennis ball breaker, and I had a nice orangey gradient, orange to yellow sort of thing going on, and then I thought, oh, that would be really nice for the tangerine, and it wasn't really appealing to me for this soap with the sandalwood. I like this one with the ylang because it does make me, this is a Brazen Hussy by Mad Micahs, by the way. That nice bright color just really does, it's kind of washed out in this lighting, it's bright here. But it really does make me think of some nice, hothouse tropical flowers or something. I was trying different colors with it, and after a while I just was loving Twilight with it. Now I don't know how well Twilight goes with sandalwood, but I'm going to try it. It's kind of darker, more masculine, and I really like the color contrast of these two. And then I was looking for a third color, and I was like, titanium dioxide, like a white or wicked black, it's not really, that's not exactly, although, white could be good, because if I was doing some sort of drop pour, white would be nice, and then have the breakthrough with these colors. That would be great, but that's not what I'm doing today. So just a white line in the soap, that doesn't sound like anything too terrific. And then Wicked, which is another black by Mad Micahs, and I love it, but I don't think it really does anything too much with the Twilight, so no. And then I thought, hey, how about King Tut's on a nice gold? What do you think of those? So it's not really a gradient, is it? It's just going to be some lines in the soap. They're not going to be too thin, because I'm going to do a third of each color in the batter, I think, and just try to make some nice straight lines that stay together, and add the liquid silk, the sandalwood, and the Lang Lang. So now I'm going to plan out my recipe in my big book. So I've planned out my colors for this soap. It's going to be the Brazen Hussy, Twilight, and King Tut, all from Mad Micas. And I used a little bit of them to do the mock-up because I didn't find in my art supplies exactly these colors that I was pleased with a mock-up of how it would look. So it has a rich kind of look, which I think is not bad for the sandalwood and Lang Lang fragrance that I'm going to be making for this. We'll see. The true test is the soap, right? It's hard to tell from this how I feel about it. And then I decided I wanted to use my tall skinny mold from Winnie & Walt. This beautiful mold. I haven't used it that much lately, so I'm going to use it today. And I was looking for a tool that would fit because I thought if I'm going to go all in, which I am, and use my sculpted layers recipe that I have from the Soap Club, then the layers are going to stay nice and still, and I'll need to make sure that they're level if I want straight lines between each layer and the next. So I found this spatula fits in perfectly, and you can't see it. There you go, it fits in here perfectly, so I can scrape my layers. So I put some marks on it for the first layer and the second layer, which will hopefully help me keep it even. They're not perfect, but they're not bad. So it's something. So that's my plan. I'm not going to share all the details of the recipe, but I'm going to work out the recipe now. And when I do that recipe, I'm going to use 25% of my oil weight to determine how much water I'll be using to make my lye water. And I'm going to use 5% of my total recipe weight to decide how much liquid silk. And I'll probably use the fragrance calculator from Brambleberry to decide how much of my fragrance blend, and I'm thinking to use maybe 30% Lang Lang and 70% sandalwood in that blend that I'm going to make. So let's get started. So one of the things I did today is melt my oils on the stove instead of using the room temperature or heat transfer method that I now have come to love for melting the oils, the butters, the solids at room temperature. We call them oils. Soapers call them oils, but they're really butters. They're oils that are solid at room temperature, but of course when you melt them, now they're oil. So I've melted these. I'm going to combine them with my at room temperature oils and to make a master batch, and you're going to see in a little while why I'm deciding to do a master batch technique today for this. After melting my butters, I stopped for a little lunch break, and that turned out to be a good thing because as I poured out my oils at room temperature, my liquid oils, I discovered going down the list again that I had missed one of my solids. So I'm now going to take a few minutes and put this guy on the double boiler, melt up the amount that I need, because otherwise I would have made a soap that would have been extremely lye heavy, very hard to cut, and not really safe to use. So I have everything ready to go here to mix my colorants. The lye water's cooling, all the oils are mixed, and I have my Brazen Hussy, my Twilight, and my King Tut gold sparkly mica here. I took a heaping tablespoon and heaping teaspoon and a flat teaspoon of each, and put in my beakers ready to pour, ready to add batter to. And I'm making close to 4 kilograms of soap. To divide it equally between the three, it's about 1,300 grams each. And I took oils. These are the oils, including the melted butters, the room temperature oils, and the solids at room temperature. everything melted and combined like a master batch. This is a weighed amount from it. It's 306 grams. Hopefully I'm not going to spill any. I'm going to use these oils to mix my colors, and any that's left over I'm going to put back into the master batch of oil, because I'll need, and I'm going to weigh it first actually, because I'll need that number to know in a moment when I do the math how much I'll be mixing together at each edition. I'll walk you through it. Okay, let's get started. Little bit, not too much. So I'm just going to try to get this dispersed so that there's no lumps or clumps. It's just a nice gold liquid to make my batter gold. That's not bad. It will get blended when we do it. So I think I'll have some left over. See how the lid goes. Nervous about the blue, and I may have to add more powdered color as I go when I mix these. If they're not the color that I want, I'm going to adjust them, get them back up to the vividness that I want. Each of these colors is the amount you'd use to do the 10-inch sort of the crafter mold full of a soap, just solid this color. So if you think about how much coloring you have to use to do that, it's a bit. And I'm going to put a mold on the side for overflow because I will be scraping this to level it. I'm not sure how much I'm going to have left over though. Might be a small mold. And there's my brazen hussy. My nice neon-y color. I'm in love with this color right now, I have to tell you. And I'm excited to use it with silk because silk does a shiny soap, and I think this is going to look really nice in a shiny soap. Don't you? Excited! There you go. Okay, so as I continue to wait for things to cool, I'll just mention how I'm doing this. So I have the total weights here of things, and I won't show you the recipe because this recipe that I'm using today for the soap batter is from the Soap Challenge Club. And they do give great recipes, tutorials, techniques. You learn new things, you get new ideas you wouldn't have had, you get to interact with the people. So if you're interested in getting all that kind of detail, I recommend you Google Soap Challenge Club or check them out online. I'll put a link. Yeah, they also have a terrific Facebook community that you can join. So it's well worth it, and I'm loving the adventure of Soap Challenge Club. So I won't betray their trust by sharing the recipe that I'm going to use, but it is the one that we used for April's Soap Challenge Club. So like I said, the total weight of the recipe that I was making was 3,895 grams, I believe. So the total weight of oils, and I'm going to calculate it here, minus how much I used. So I have my scale ready. I'm going to put this back on. The scale is tared. So I'm just going to have the weight of oil remaining from the 306 that I poured off. And I'm going to pour this back into the main batch of oils. And then the lye solution weight is here. I'm going to add my sodium lactate, which 4 tablespoons, that comes out to about 60 grams. So it brings my total weight of my lye solution to 1,155. And what's going to happen is I'm going to use a third of this and a third of this number here when I calculate it for each addition. And I'm going to mix them like a separate soap to trace and pour. And then I'm going to have the rest sitting on the side and do it again. So let's get cracking. right away, touching these bars, you can feel the silkiness. It's strange. You can literally feel the silkiness, especially here on the sides where I haven't just cut it. I feel like when I plane these, you're really gonna feel the silkiness. I can't wait to use it on my skin and see what it feels like and see what the lather is like. One thing I did notice about the way I did the layers with the spatula, if you remember, the spatula has sort of rounded edges, the silicone spatula that I used, and you could see when it went down to the bottom of the mold, you can see the shape of the tip of the spatula. On the blue layer, I tried to level it a bit, with mixed results, because I sort of ended up making kind of wobbly lines on my blue. You can see the spatula quite clearly on each bar. Yeah, and a bit of wobble on the blue. But I love how nicely these layers firmed up and how easy it was to pour on top of them, and the adhesion is perfect. So there's the secret that I didn't know last year when I was trying to make a layered looking bar. So yeah, they'll be a great product. Design wise, not in love with the colors, but look is terrific. So part of the reason I wanted to use my Winnie and Walt mold for these soaps was the bar shape. It's a nice size. They're taller and a little skinnier and fit in your hand well. As opposed to, this is my slab mold. I mean, you can go this way, but I did have some people say that this is more comfortable to hold. It's a little bit more ergonomic. So I would like to switch over completely to these at some point. We'll see. Anyhow, I'm fairly happy with how the bars came out. I'm not completely in love with them. The color selection is okay. The gold really doesn't scan as gold and shiny as I would have liked. They do have the kind of smoothness that silk, maybe a bit of shine. We'll see as they cure. And I went light on the scent, so they have a slight sandalwood scent. I'm not picking up too much of the ylang ylang. I probably could have used more. I did find it neat that some of the bars, I did scrape out the gold colorant a little bit and just kind of dump it in, so there's a little bit where there's more shiny gold in there, and I like those. So yeah. Oh, and my excess, my little testers, I cut them small. Those will be cute. And again, with the silk, it should be something that really supports your collagen, helps your face feel firm, and improves the elasticity. So these will be nice for aging skin, and they'll be available in about 4 or 5 weeks from our booth and online. So yeah, thanks for watching me make this soap, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.